Hey, I'm
Back again and about time too.
sorry, wait, this isn't a Nintendo related video. It's actually about Sonic. Surprise, surprise, I'm also a Sonic kid. Truly having the best of both worlds. But comparing the two, that I definitely experienced the best of Mario more so than I did Sonic. As I only played like 5 Sonic games as far as I can remember. And they included the original Sonic for the Game Boy, Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing, Sonic Colors, Sonic Generations, and finally, my last Sonic game, till recently that is, Sonic Lost World. And then I just kind of forgot about Sonic for a while, until I heard about Crossworlds. It was through this game I was reminded about how good and interesting this wide variety of characters are through their interactions, and how the ones who were never interesting could be made interesting. And with that, I think it's time we talk about the Deadly Six. Now, let me get this out of the way. I do not care if a character is silly. I do not care if a character is one dimensional. But they have to have something that is interesting, such as relationships, backstory. They need to be specific, and the Deadly Six just are not that. Hell, Eggman, that he is a literal human guy, fits into the world of Sonic better than they do. Why? Because he has a relationship to Sonic, and he has a backstory to Sonic, and his design directly contrasts with Sonic. But these people, they're just random. That is the best way to describe them. You could literally put them in any other game and it would not matter, and that is what makes them so controversial. Because it's like, yeah, why are these people in this game instead of someone like Infinite or Mighty or whoever? What the hell is a polar bear doing in Arlington, Texas, bro? It's like they're not interesting. They're not intimidating. They are not Sonic specific. With that said, there have been efforts made in stuff such as the IDW comics to flesh them out. And again, here in Crossworlds, I believe Zaz and Zavok especially got some good characterization. But even still, I think it could be taken up a notch. And that is what I plan to do with this video. Let's start by talking about my number one, my main goat, Zaz. He is, without a doubt, the best out of all of the Deadly Six members for many reasons. One, he's actually pretty goddamn funny. Two, out of all the archetypes, I'd say his is probably the most original. Like, he's crazy, okay, and evil, but he's not like crazy crazy or like stupid kinda crazy. He's just goofy as shit. And three, I don't know, man, something about his design just fits so much more into the Sonic universe compared to the rest of them. Like, looking at his lanky build and just the way he acts like a complete animal makes me way more lenient on his design than everyone else's, and that's why honestly I don't have much to say about my redesign on him other than one, I wanted to make him a little bit more like a punk, which I'm pretty sure they're trying to implement into Crossworlds. And I also wanted to make him just a tiny bit more girly pop. So yeah, that's all I have to say on Zaz for now. Next up is my second favorite of the bunch, Xena. And no, it's not just because she's pretty, I promise. Yes, she's a stereotypical female character. Yes, the main thing she talks about is her nails and her looks. But there's also something else about her that no one seems to talk about, and that's that she is probably the most chill out of the bunch towards Sonic. Like, had Sonic not dissed the hell out of her, she would have been totally fine just chilling with him, and I find that to be kind of interesting. Maybe she doesn't even care about doing chaotic shit, hence why, Zavok always has to remind her to do shit around the place. And for that, I think she has a lot of potential, especially as one of the few girl characters in Sonic. And one of the few girl characters in Sonic who is actually a villain. So yeah, that's why I like her. For her design, I didn't honestly change much, I think. Like, I didn't take too much away from her design, just I more so added on to it. Like, Girly is literally in the cold fighting Sonic using big ass snowballs. And she is probably so cold, like, that's why I decided to give her a little scarf and little gloves. Not only did I think it just made her look way more cute looking and, less naked, but it shows how, like it represents how there's some warmth to her in her demeanor and stuff. Also, I decided to make her a little more round, a little more curvy. I hope y'all don't care about that. Next up is the main man himself, Zavok, and I have incredibly mixed opinions on him. I will give him this. One, he's hot. He's a beefcake. Second, he is definitely the most threatening of the Deadly Six, and I think he makes for a pretty formidable villain. And especially so in the IDW comics, where he's actually shown to be very strategic and cunning in how he gets people to his side. And three, there is no three, I'm sorry. He is just so bland, bro. Like, as much as I hate the next three Zeddy that I'm gonna talk about, at least they have a personality trait besides just being evil. He is just evil incarnate and it is just so boring. Like, he literally shows no love and no care to anybody except Master Zeke, but we barely even see that. Also, I don't know why, just something about his voice actor. Like, they're not doing a bad job, just for this edgy, evil guy, I think someone with a voice like Keith David or John DiMaggio, however you say it, would have been much better choices. You know what though? Maybe in the Sonic 6 movie, Keith David could play as him. Because it'll be based around the Deadly Six and they'll be the six main villains because it'll be the sixth Sonic movie. I don't know if I want that to be canon or not, to be honest. And finally, his design is just like his personality, very basic as well. Like they're supposed to be based off like demons and like Oni creatures, and nothing about him is subversive in terms of displaying that. And he is just played completely straight. Like, oh, he's a demon-based character. We have to make him red. We have to make him evil looking. And while I didn't exactly diverge from that in my redesign, I do think it makes him look at least a tiny bit more interesting. Like, for example, with my jewelry for him. Because, you know, he's supposed to be the leader, he's supposed to be the big bad, so I figured why not show that by giving him these little accessories and whatnot. And in addition, I gave him this mask instead of giving him like his hair or whatever it is covering his mouth, which also bothers the crap out of me because it's just so confusing to me. So I decided to just replace that with a mask, which I think looks better and shows how like he has to control his anger. And finally, I decided to make one of his horns injured to show how he's like so into battle that he's willing to get himself hurt just to like reach his end goal. And that's it for him. And now we get into my top 3 least favorite Deadly Six characters, with number 3 being Zor. Now, as I said with Zavok, I think he at least has a redeeming character in that he's not just plain evil and that he has another personality trait, which is being sad. Riveting stuff, I know. And actually, in the IDW comments, I quite like the implementation of him being like this kind of like masochistic guy who gets off on like getting hurt and like hurting others. Another compliment I can give is um he's androgynous looking. That's pretty based. Uh that's it. Those are all my compliments. Look, man, I know I just said that it's better to have them with two personality traits rather than just being straight up evil, but now that I think about it, there is much more you could do with an evil guy who was just straight up evil and like angry than you can do with someone who is evil and sad. Actually, now that I think about it, I kinda lied. Zavok does kind of have another personality, which is being angry, and I much prefer that over someone just being sad. Because it's like, can we even consider this guy good at being a villain and being good at his job? Like, it's just so boring, man. I don't know how to properly explain, but like, I hope y'all will get what I mean. And even in his design, like they could have done so much more with him, like being emo and implement more emo shit into his design, which I'm not gonna lie, I could have done more too, but I think he looks much more interesting in my design than he does in the games. Like, for example, I made him look a tiny bit more androgynous, giving him a little bit of eyeliner and like puckering his little lips. And also, I decided to give him little stripes on his chest. I don't know what to say about this guy. I'm sorry. Now getting into my second least favorite Deadly Six character, it is Master Zeke, which some people will probably be confused by because apparently whenever I looked at forums, he's like in most people's top 3. But for me, I don't like him. I'm not crazy about him at all. First of all, his design, man. He is literally just a fucking circle with pants on and a racist Asian stereotype looking beard and haircut. He's just some old ass shriveled ass blueberry. Second, when it comes to his personality traits, it is being evil and being old, which I don't even know if you could consider to be a character trait. Like, his whole thing is about, like, following tradition and doing stuff in, like, an old way, which I don't even think constitutes as a character trait if I'm being totally honest. Like, even still, it's like, okay, wow, old guy is doing old things, how riveting. And 3, I don't know if I can really speak on this considering I'm not Asian, but as I've said, he is literally just an Asian stereotype of like the old mentor figure, and he's basically just Master Shifu but like evil, and that's it. In my honest opinion, he's probably the least original out of all of them. Not to mention, whenever like he goes to do an attack, he makes these like sounds that are like very stereotypical of like Asian people like doing karate and shit and like martial arts. Oh yeah, very iffy, yucky character to me. If there is one compliment I could give him, it's that he has the slightest bit of interesting lore and that he taught the Zeti to be evil. Which, I'm sorry, as interesting as that can be, it isn't actually, and it is just so lame. Like, what do you mean he just taught them to be evil? Like, if anything, that just makes the rest of the characters worse. because it's like none of these traits came naturally for them. And as I've said, this is something that is literally never expanded on. Like, we never see a cutscene or like a panel from the comics showing any of this. Like, he should be one of the most interesting characters in the Sonic lore. Like, how did he become evil? Why did he want to start teaching evil? What did he do in his past to get so powerful? And it's just not expanded on, and I think that's what pisses me off so much about him, is like, he has the potential to be interesting, but I'm sorry, he's just not to me. Anyway, getting on to my redesign, which, as you'll see, is incredibly different. First off, I wanted to make him look more like a daddy, because in my version he is the daddy to all of the Deadly Six, because I thought that just make for a much more interesting and like sensible dynamic. Hence why I gave him little glasses and like a beer belly. Second of all, you'll notice like he looks much more like a scientist or something compared to like someone in the martial arts, and that is because that is what he is meant to be. Like, he's supposed to be this intelligent man who is actually meant to parallel Gerald Robotnik, and I will get to that later, so keep that in mind. And three, I'm sorry, I couldn't bring myself to draw that beard and ponytail, man. Like, even if like people don't consider it to be stereotypical or like offensive, which honestly it's not. Like, I don't actually care. This is from 2013 after all. And also I'm pretty sure there were Asian people working on the game anyways, but still I could not bring myself to draw it. I'm sorry. It was just weird for me. But yeah, I hope you guys like it anyways. Finally, getting on to my number one least favorite character is Zaman. Is that how you say his name?
I gotta get you in a sumo match with Zomom!
Oh, it's that. Yo Mom is by far the worst of the Deadly Six. I'm sorry, it is no contest. There is just no potential with this guy that I can see. First of all, let's address the elephant in the room. This guy has no fucking personality besides just being fat. Literally, every single interaction he has with somebody has to involve him talking about food or how much he wants to go get more food. Like, even in this one scene where like he starts off saying like some kind of threat to Tails, like he brings up something like oh, I'm gonna scramble you like an omelet, and then he's like omelets, and oh my fucking god. Actually no, I lied, sorry. Getting into my second point, his other personality trait is being stupid, which again, like, being a sad character leaves no room for interesting interactions besides him just being a fucking moron. Like, seriously, how much can you do with an idiotic character? Tell me. How do you evolve a stupid character into someone actually interesting? Let alone like this. Bro, there is so little to do with him. Even the fucking IDW comics didn't add anything to his character. Like, I'm sorry, there is no saving this guy. Like, with the other characters, they tried to implement some other character traits and, like, quirks for them here and there. But him, he is just basically the exact same from what I've seen. He is just purely irredeemable. And thirdly, he has by far the worst character design out of all of them. Not just because again he is a stereotypical fat character, but because he is literally just a fucking mango with arms and legs, and that is it, and a big mouth. Like, wow, you made the gluttonous character round and with a big mouth? Holy shit, that is so subversive. That is so awesome. Like, do y'all see what I mean with this man? He is just so uninteresting. Like, I'm not even offended, bro. I'm just disappointed. Literally, the only redeeming quality I can say about this guy is that he has that one scene where he smacks Sonic with a fucking sandwich. But besides that, he is just one of the worst Sonic characters of all time. And that's why I decided to make him more like one of my favorite characters of all time. Big, who's a big guy, but who actually has a fucking personality tree. As you could see by his expression, I wanted to make him kinda just like this chill guy who just kinda has nothing better to do, so he figures he might as well just join the Deadly Six and being evil and stuff. But if someone were to ask him to do literally anything else, he'd just be like, sure, whatever. Like, he's just a kinda goes with the flow guy. He just kinda needs something to do. So he's still kind of stupid. But it's not in like the stereotypical kind of stupid where it's like 1 plus 1 is 3 stupid. But like, let me just do this thing because you told me so kind of stupid. And also, I kind of made this the explanation as to why he's fat because he gets bored sometimes and food is something that gives him joy. So yeah, it's character, but with a purpose, with something that can be expanded on and explored, and not making the whole humor that comes out of him from him being fat. Which again, this is from 2013, and honestly, most of the jokes with him are pretty fucking funny. But yeah, at one point it does get exhausting. Especially with that one scene with Eggman, like, girl, you're fat too, shut up. And now, with my thoughts on my redesigns and just my thoughts on the characters in general, let's talk about my thoughts for them as part of my rewrite. First off, as I mentioned at one point when I talked about Master Zeke, he is now the father of all of the Deadly Six, and they are all siblings. And they love each other. They don't fucking just straight up hate each other and bonk each other on the head all the time. No, they love each other, and they just get annoyed with each other sometimes. But they do love each other, making for a much more, in my opinion, interesting dynamic where it's not just like, oh, they're evil, so they have to be evil towards each other and hate each other and everybody. Nah, they love each other. Found family all the way, baby. Second, you know how like the world they're on is called the Lost Hex? Well, actually, they got lost from their actual home planet, something like the Babylonians, but it was entirely their fault and not like an accident. And they got stranded on that land that they call the Lost Hex because that's them. And that's why it looks like a combination of like a bunch of different worlds because they like had to take it and make it like a home for themselves. And why that is because 3, they actually had a mother who was the 7th Deadly Six. So making them actually like the 7 Deadly Sins. And together, this woman and Zeke were rulers of their original homeland and their home kingdom. And they were always just pieces of shit from the beginning. There was no teaching nothing. They're just naturally evil people and would constantly abuse their kingdom and just conquer a bunch of land and shit. And then at one point, there could be like this group of Zeti who just wanted them to get the fuck out. And so these people would try to usurp them and try to like attack them one day, but because as I said, Zeke is like meant to be a smart guy, like a scientist in my rewrite, he made this like portal thing using like his magnetism powers like everybody else has, and he's like getting his family to go in with him. But before she could follow in with them, the group actually managed to. Do I have to censor this? Hayward her. And so that's why they're like so mad and like want to destroy the world and like remake it for themselves in honor of the mom. So it's like it's kind of sad, not gonna lie, a little more deep than I probably should have made it, especially for a Sonic game. But I'm sorry, man. They needed that. They need something like that. They need some juicy lore to make them like interesting to me. And also like I feel like there's also a funny factor in it, and that they were such pieces of shit. Just the like when you look at them, you think, oh, that's what all Zeddy are like, but no, the actual Zeddy are like these calm, peaceful people, and it's just them who are pieces of shit the whole time. And they're just like unchanging and so proud of themselves and like want their mother to be so proud. And in reality, like nobody else likes it. And that is the end of my rewrite. Update, no it is not. I completely forgot the part where I talk about the personality changes, so here's that real quick. Zavok, basically the same, but now he's not physically abusive towards his family, and also he feels more of a need to please Master Zeke, and also him and the rest of the gang now have a positive/neutral relationship towards Sonic and want to get him on their side. Zeke, also the same, but now is also less abusive towards his family, and is much more lenient on them considering they're literally his children. Also, he, instead of just focusing on using old techniques, uses a blend of both new and old techniques that his children use. Zaz, he is now more of a chaotic neutral rather than chaotic evil character, and is just purely in it for the chaos and doesn't care about ruling over the world like the rest of his family does. And what better way of creating chaos than working with the good guys sometimes and pissing off his family? He is also gay. Xena, similar to Zez, she also doesn't care about ruling over the world and more so just wants to chill, and find friends to hang out with and get away from her family sometimes because of it. She is also Pan. Zomam, basically, like I said before, an evil big, that's all you need to know. He is also bi. And finally, Zor. Basically the same, except they have a reason being emo, which is their whole backstory thing, and also he for some reason thinks everybody hates him, even though nobody does, and that's why he's always a sassy little shit. Also, he's definitely the youngest out of the group, so that just adds on to it. He is also non-binary. Also, I don't have a whole lot written down about their mom, but basically all you need to know is she's an evil girl boss, and that's about it to her character. So yeah, I hope you guys liked this absolute mess of a video, and to those of you who like the Deadly Six as is, that is fine. And again, I do not hate any of these characters. I am just disappointed, and I just wish that more was done with them to make them more relevant and make them more interesting. And while I like them, I don't care about them either. But I want to. I want to care for them. I want to say, hey, you know, they are a very worthy addition to the Sonic franchise. And, you know, like I said, with the way Crossworlds is going, with the way the IDW comics are going, maybe they will be one day. And maybe other people out there will stop legitimately hating them. With that out of the way, I hope you guys enjoy, and I hope you all stay awesome.
I fell off to be celebrating.